What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick here, and as you know, we have an upcoming mint this Friday. JUUNI will be minting this Friday, and as you know, I am an advisor for this project. So what I wanted to do for this video is kind of share with you my experience on how I got involved with JUUNI, why I decided to advise them, and why I will continue to advise them even post mint. And my goal here is not to sell you anything, it's really just to share with you my experiences, right? So if you want to check out the community, see what's going on in their Discord, see what's going on Twitter, to see if it's the right community that you want to be a part of, right? Again, this is not a shill, this is not financial advice at all, and make sure you do your own research. I just want to share my experiences with working with the team, my personal thoughts on it, and hopefully you get some value out of it. And also towards the middle of this video, we're also going to have an interview with HEX, who is the main artist for this collection. So if you want to learn more about the artist as well, make sure you do not miss that in this same video. So let's go ahead and dive into how I got involved with JUUNI. If you are not familiar with JUUNI, it is essentially a new NFT project that's going to be minting this Friday, and it's specifically focused on uplifting the artist community, right? So it's definitely anime inspired, and it basically a lot of people who are artists who want to become artists and aspire to make money doing one-on-one art and working with different clients. This is kind of a community to help uplift them, educate them, and also connect them with collectors who want to collect this art. You know, that's like the high level gist of what JUUNI is, but let me go ahead and explain with you how I actually got involved. So around June or July, you know, this is after I minted the Parallax Genesis, and if you didn't know, that's NFT collection for our community. And so I remember, you know, in my DMs, there's someone that DM'd me. It was actually Ice, who is the CEO of JUUNI. At the time, you know, JUUNI barely had anything on Twitter, probably just like one tweet, and he was like, hey, you know, I'm a Parallax holder, big fan of, you know, what you're doing on YouTube. It would be great to get your insight on this project I'm working on. You know, anytime somebody lets me know that they're a Parallax holder and they want to reach out to me and have a conversation, usually I, you know, respond 99% of the time. So I was like, all right, cool, sounds interesting, let's get on the phone, right? Ice at the time just kind of tells me what he plans with JUUNI, the art that they're doing, who's the artist, and then we just have a long conversation. Probably it was like an hour-long conversation about me just kind of sharing my opinions on things I thought they could have done better, especially since they were in the infancy stage. And then at that point, Ice was like, hey, you know, I really like you as a person. Do you do any advising? Do you help projects in any way, right? And at that time, I was actually just starting to advise projects and giving my advice as like a consultant and helping people out. And I was like, well, maybe, but I got to meet the team first. I want to make sure that you're legit and, you know, you're just not like a random, you know, Parallax member, right? And so I got to know the other co-founder, T. And then after meeting them and kind of getting their gist and their vibe and like what they want to do in the future, I was like, all right, let's do it. You know, let's have me on as an advisor and I'll help you guys out. So in the beginning, I asked the team, I was like, well, like, what is it that you want to do, right? Like if you do an anime project, well, there's a million anime projects. Art is great, whatever, but what can we do more than that? What kind of community can we serve? How can we make the space better? And then I remember Ice told me, he was like, he was a collector. He commissioned a lot of one-of-ones, especially in the Azuki community, right? And then he was like, well, there's not really a place for people to like connect with different artists. And if you're an individual collector and you want to reach out to an artist, it's quite like a lot of manual work. You have to like filter through people. A lot of people don't respond. Even if you throw money at them, they don't respond. So there's like fragmented space, right? So kind of express those pains that he had as a collector. And then he also let me know that artists in this space, it's very hard for them to ironically match with the right collectors and then sell their one-of-one work. So then we all brainstormed together, and then we were like, well, what if JUUNI was the place where, you know, we could bring all these people together, whether it's like people that support artists, people who are artists, people who want to collect art, bring it together in one hub and create like this community around that, right? And so that's essentially the inception of like the concept of JUUNI in terms of uplifting the artist community. And then from that core idea, they created different programs like the Artsy, for example, which is an initiative by JUUNI to help educate artists and get them more exposure. They have the live streams going on every day on Discord where artists will share their screen, show themselves drawing, and people can connect and like be like, oh, that's the process of how you actually create art, right? And so what I'm proud of when I look at JUUNI as a project is you have this idea of like product market fit, right? I feel like in the NFT space and Web3 space, the products and services that you offer can change a lot depending on where the market is, right? But the main thing for me when I look at projects is, who is this community? You know, why do they want to hang out together? And then typically if you have a community that believes in a similar philosophy about certain things or maybe a similar interest, then you can create different products and services around that community, right? And so for JUUNI, we basically created this place where artists and collectors can come together. It's almost like the Web3 hub of like anime art essentially, right? I'm pretty proud that we actually put that community together, and it is real, right? Because I see people doing JUUNI art even pre-mint, they're putting it on Foundation app and people are buying it for like 0.3, 0.5 ETH. It's a lot for an artist. That really makes their day, right? And it gives them confidence that they can actually make a career out of art as long as there's people that support them, right? If you ever studied contemporary art before, it's really like the art galleries and stuff that will find artists who are kind of like starving artists, and then they basically make them into somebody. So I feel like, you know, JUUNI's in a spot to be like, what would a modern day Web3 art gallery-ish kind of vibe look like, right? And I feel like we're definitely really tackling that niche. And then moving moving on to, let's say, the team. So the team actually is pretty stacked. They're coachable. They listen to the advice I give. They really consider it to see whether or not they should take it or not. And they don't have to take all my advice, right? They can decide. The things that they do act on, they act on it fast, get the job done very quick, and then they learn from that, right? So like every move you make is not going to be right, but the goal is like to learn as much as possible, to make some mistakes here and there, but then to come out on top. So I feel like the team is pretty stacked in terms of like their previous experience. A lot of the team members, whether it's from a technical development perspective, whether it's from a community management perspective, artist relations perspective, like everyone's kind of like a professional in their own field, and everyone just kind of came together. So, you know, when we have ideas on things that we should do, whether it's like doing certain traits on the art, it gets done really fast. Or if we want to do like interesting minting mechanic, we have the development skills to actually get that done very fast as well, right? To be fair, if you're watching this, you're probably thinking like, hey, you know, Patrick's just like hyping them up. I understand, but again, I'm just giving my honest opinion on that, right? Like I wouldn't be an advisor for a project if it wasn't a good experience, right? And then let's move to the art. The art, if you look very closely at the way the art is drawn, you can tell it's pretty high effort, right? A lot of it's like kind of like realism. It's kind of like 3D, but 2D. It's on the JUUNI Twitter. You can definitely check it out, right? So like you kind of get an idea of like what you'll get before the mint and the review and everything. But you know, I like the art, right? You know, for me overall, I feel like JUUNI's in a spot where it serves a specific demographic. The team is very confident. They're passionate about what they do, and the art looks cool. Those are some of the reasons for why I decided to continue to advise JUUNI even post mint, right? Just, you know, there's no guarantee of anything. There's no guarantee the price will go up. I'm not saying you should buy it. Don't buy it just because I said these nice things about it, because this is just my personal experience. But I'm just kind of sharing with you candidly how I personally feel. And again, I'm an advisor, right? With that said, you know, when it comes to the art, instead of me trying to explain it, let's go ahead and dive into an interview I did with HEX, who is the main artist for this collection. So he pretty much did like the art concept, the traits, and all that stuff, right? So if you're interested in the art, make sure to watch this interview, and let's go ahead and roll it. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here. Now today, I have a special interview for you. We have the co-founder of JUUNI, and he is also the artist that has been drawing the PFPs and drawing all of the artwork that you see. And I wanted to welcome HEX. HEX, how you doing, man?
안녕하세요. 인터뷰에 이렇게 초대해 주셔서 감사합니다. 최근엔 프로젝트를 준비하느라 바쁘지만 즐겁게 보내고 있습니다.
Gotcha, which is very understandable. Now, kind of diving into it, you know, what we're going to do today is we're going to share a little bit about, you know, who you are and what you've been doing with JUUNI. And the first question I actually have for you is, when it comes to your art style, right? A lot of people have seen your style and a lot of people like it. I want to ask, like, where do you get your inspiration from?
제가 예술을 시작한 이유는 지극히 단순한 이유입니다. 만화 보는 것을 좋아했고 제가 좋아하는 캐릭터를 낙서하는 것이 재밌었기 때문에 시작을 했습니다.
And then in terms of like the style and inspiration that you had, like what kind of animes do you like, or what kind of drawings do you like get inspired by? You're like, oh, okay, I want to draw it like this.
단순히 그림 스타일로 생각을 하면 제 그림 스타일은 이제 세미 리얼과 만화체 사이에 있다고 얘기할 수 있을 것 같아요. 저는 다양한 아트 스타일을 갖고 있지만 최근에는 만화체를 좀 더 연구를 하고 있습니다.
Got you. And then, you know, in the past you worked with a lot of, you know, video game studios and things like that. How do you feel like, you know, the whole video game style has influenced your personal style?
일단 컨셉 디자인을 할 때 다양한 방향성으로 이제 디자인을 할 수가 있는데, 예를 들어서 영화나 음악, 게임뿐만 아니라 그냥 작은 액세서리 패턴만 가지고도 영감을 받고 디자인을 할 수가 있어요. 근데 게임 같은 경우에는 우리가 판타지라는 하나의 무한한 상상 속에 있는 디자인을 우리가 할 수가 있기 때문에 기존 고증을 기반으로 해서 현실에는 없는 새로운 의상 디자인을 한다는 점에서 되게 매력적인 영감을 저한테 주었던 것 같습니다.
Okay, I got you. And one thing I'm curious about is HEX, you know, he has been doing a lot of one-on-one pieces in the NFT space for a little bit. I'm curious to know how he got started in NFTs.
많은 종류의 아티스트가 있지만 상업 아트를 그리는 일러스트레이터들한테는 대부분 이제 남을 위한 그림에서 수익을 대부분 얻는데, NFT 시장에서의 아트 활동은 그런 아티스트들에게 있어서 본인이 그리고 싶은 세계를 표현하고 수익을 얻을 수 있기 때문에 굉장히 매력적으로 다가왔습니다.
I see. Because you create what you want to create, not what someone else wants you to create. Something like that, right? So, you know, you're doing these like one-of-one pieces, doing it your style, and people are buying it. So how'd you like first connect with JUUNI, or Kid Ice at least, and then create JUUNI after?
이것은 아이스에게 컨택이 이제 왔습니다.
Okay. And then how did Ice like convince HEX to want to be part of this project?
저도 PFP 프로젝트에 관심이 있었고, 처음에 이제 아이스한테 컨택이 왔을 때는 아티스트들한테 있어서 이 PFP 프로젝트라는 게 참 조심스러운 분야이기도 하고 일단 언어 장벽이 좀 있었기 때문에 굉장히 조심스럽긴 했지만 아이스가 끊임없이 본인을 신뢰할 수 있도록 저를 열심히 좀 설득을 해줬던 것 같습니다.
Okay, so is it that he like wanted to do, you know, a bigger project, but just needed to find the right team or person to help him with that?
일단 아이스가 주니를 통해서 하고 싶다고 했던 것들이 그런 비전들이 저는 굉장히 처음에 마음에 들었던 것 같아요. 일단은 큰 전제가 많은 아티스트들을 재능 있는 아티스트들을 서포팅하기 위함이었고 그것을 위해서 첫 단계가 이제 주니 PFP 프로젝트였는데 그 부분에 대한 설명을 제가 이제 끊임없이 질문을 했고 아이스가 잘 대답을 해줘서 신뢰를 할 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
Okay, I got it. And how has HEX's experience been so far working in JUUNI?
PFP 프로젝트라는 게 지금까지 해왔던 작업 방식으로 그리는 게 아니었기 때문에 처음에는 굉장히 힘들었는데 팀과 함께 주니 세계를 만들어 나가는 과정이나 우리 커뮤니티를 사랑해주는 아티스트나 이제 아트 애호가 분들이 늘어가는 과정을 지켜보는 것들이 굉장히 흥분되고 뿌듯했습니다.
And for, you know, these up and coming artists who maybe want to do something similar to what HEX is doing or their own thing, like any advice HEX has for people who want to make it in the space?
본인의 세계를 남들에게 설득시키는 것에 집중을 하면서 작품 활동을 하셨으면 좋겠습니다. 일단 NFT나 이제 PFP 시장 같은 경우에는 이제 NFT 시장 같은 경우에는 이제 기존에 우리가 작가 활동을 했던 시장과는 굉장히 다른 시장이고 나만의 세계를 표현하고 그것을 좋아해주는 컬렉터들과 직접 소통을 할 수 있다는 점에서 굉장히 매력적인 시장이라고 생각을 해요. 그래서 단순히 팬과 작가가 아닌 아티스트와 아트 러버와의 관계로 좀 소통을 하면서 항상 서로 존중하고 감사하는 마음을 잊지 않아야 된다고 저는 생각을 하고 있습니다.
All right, that's a nice one. Okay, now the last question I have is, you know, we're going to wrap up the interview now. So are there any final words you have for our audience today, HEX?
일단 이 어색한 인터뷰를 끝까지 들어주셔서 감사하고 끝까지 열심히 주니라는 세계를 준비하기 위해서 탄탄하게 그림을 그리고 있는데 앞으로 공개될 PFP들을 좀 많이 기대를 해주시고 최고의 퀄리티의 PFP를 보여드릴 수 있다고 자신을 하고 있고 이 PFP가 공개가 됐을 때 또 마찬가지로 꾸준히 관심 갖고 사랑해 주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Well, appreciate the kind words, HEX, and that's everything for this interview, and we will see you in the next one. And so, hopefully you enjoyed that interview and learned a little bit more about JUUNI. If you're interested in joining the community, the Mint is coming up this Friday, so definitely want to mark that on your calendars if you are interested, and I will see you in the next one.